Good morning, students. So today in subject Introduction to Mains from the chapter number 3, review of basic mains fabrication. So I am Madhuri Mui, working as assistant professor in Department of Electronics and Telecommunication, Sharad Institute of Technology, College of Engineering. So in last session we have covered that the many points from the chapter number 3. So let us see one overview of the chapter number 3. So in this chapter we have seen deposition techniques, one example of the thin film of silicon nitride, then what is meant by deposition, then what is the purpose of deposited layer, then types of layers for mains, then types of films we have seen with respect to the applications. Then we have seen mains deposition process, where we have seen one example, that is 4-layer micro cantilever sensor. Then we have started the deposition process. So there are 5 types of deposition process. So spin on film, thermal oxidation, chemical vapor deposition, physical vapor deposition, and electroplating deposition. So let us think first overview on this. So spin on films. So here the spin is rotated and that the liquid is thrown on this disc. Then thermal oxidation. So this is nothing but the thermal oxidation process, means where actual thermal oxidation process we have seen. Then what are the steps involved in the thermal deposition process that we have seen. Then chemical vapor deposition we have seen, that is third type from the deposition process. So in this also we have seen 2 types, so homogeneous and heterogeneous. Then we have seen the in detail CVD process. So what are the steps followed in a CVD process? Then we have seen the types of CVD, that is APCVD, LPCVD, PECVD, then HDPECVD. Okay. So one example we have seen, that is plasma enhanced. Then CVD system for microsystem we have seen with the example of LPCVD and PECVD. So fourth type we have seen physical vapor deposition. So in that sputtering and evaporation, these are the 2 types. So that we have covered. This is the sputtering, this is the evaporating process. Then we have seen the electroplating. In the last session we have covered this electroplating plating. So this is nothing but the process of electroplating. Then we have seen the introduction to oxidation. So last time we have started the introduction to oxidation. So oxidation means what? Conversion of silicon vapor to the silicon oxide. So okay. So in that oxidation, dry oxidation and wet oxidation, there are 2 types of the oxidation. So dry oxidation is Si reacts with O2 to form SiO2, and wet oxidation, that is Si reacts with water, that is steam, to form SiO2. Okay. So what are the conditions are required for the dry and wet oxidation that we have seen. So let us start with the today's session with the thermal oxidation. So here one furnace tube is shown. So in this figure, this is nothing but the one furnace tube. So it is preheated up to 900 or 900 to 1200 degrees Celsius. Then that the steam, that is O2 or H2O steam, is blown into the furnace. Okay. So timing, temperature and gas flow rate are strictly controlled. Okay. So whatever the process are required, then outer temperature of this case and the gas flow is strictly controlled. Okay. So in this figure, what we have observed here, one O2 or H2O, that is steam, that is carrier gas, is entered here, and here is one side is opening. So fused cords cases, and these are the vapors are there. So it is a resistance heater which will maintain the internal temperature, and here the fused cord tabular furnace is used, which is preheated for 900 to 1200 degrees Celsius. Then thickness of oxidation. So here the thickness of oxidation, so it is silicon vapor and this is the original surface. So formation of a silicon dioxide layer on the surface of a silicon vapor consumes silicon during growth of the layer. Okay, so formation of a silicon dioxide layer on the surface of a silicon vapor consumes silicon during growth of the layer. So the oxide expands to fill a region approximately 54% above and 46% below the original surface of the water. Okay, so here 54% above and 46% below the original surface of the water. So oxide expands to fill the region approximately 56 above and 46% below of the original surface of water. So the exact percentage depends on the density of oxide. Okay, so the exact percentage depends on the density of the oxide. Okay. So here one that the silicon vapors which is during growth, the layer shown in the figure. Then next, oxide thickness by color. So both SiO2 and Si3N4 layers have a color distinct from that of the silicon substrate. Okay, so SiO2 and Si3N4 layers have a color distinct from that of the silicon substrate. So SiO2 transparent but with a different light refraction index from that of the silicon substrate, so different to the white light. So substrate colors on the surface corresponding layers thickness when illuminated by white light. So the color of SiO2 layer's surface is the result of the interference of the reflect light rays. Okay, so that's why the oxide thickness is important due to the interference of the reflected light rays. So here one table is shown where the color of silicon dioxide layer of selected thickness is shown. Okay, so SiO2 layer thickness in a micrometer, so that is ranging from 0.050, 0.075. so the color for that, so it is, if thickness in micrometer 0.050, it is tan color, then it is 0.75 micrometer, then it is brown. Suppose that the 0.75, that is color is red, and 0.460, so in between red to violet color is vary. Then from 0.310 to 0.493 the blue color, and 0.50 then green to yellow and yellow green. So 0.375 that is green yellow, and 0.390 it is yellow. Okay. So the color of silicon dioxide layer of selected thickness are vary according to the thickness. So it will give you the tan, brown, red, violet, blue, green to yellow, green, green, yellow, yellow. Then Before starting an oxidation process, the etched sample was cleaned. Okay, before starting at the oxidation process, the etched sample was cleaned. In acetone and a methanol, ultrasonic bath for 5 minutes each, followed by rising the substrate in diluted water for 1 minute. Okay, so when we are going to start the oxidation process, so before that whatever each sample was first upon cleaned in acetone and methanol ultrasonic bath for the 5 minutes. So we have to clear that whatever the each effort that we have to must be clean. Okay, so that is nothing but the taking the bath inside the acetone and a methanol ultrasonic for the 5 minutes. Then it is rising the substrate in a dilution for 1 minute. Okay. The sample was then soaked in 10% of HF solution, hydrofluoric. Okay. So the sample was then soaked in a 10% HF solution for 60 seconds, that is near about 1 minute. To eliminate the undesired native was then soaked in 10% of HF solution. Okay, so the sample whatever the cleaned that is soaked in 10% HF solution for 1 minute. So that's why whatever that the eliminated whatever the undesired native was the soaked in 10% of hydrofluoric solution for 60 seconds. Okay, to eliminate the undesired native oxidation layer. Before it was rinsed again in diluted water and dried with nitrogen. Okay, so first upon each sample was cleaned by taking the bath of acetone, methanol, ultrasonic for 5 minutes. Then it is again rinsed that substrate in a diluted water. After that it is soaked again in a hydrofluoric solution, and after also that the sample is diluted in water and dried with nitrogen. Then the samples were placed in the ceramic boat. Okay, this is the ceramic boat, and were put at the mouth of the oxidation glass. Were put into the mouth of the oxidation glass tube furnace that had previously been filled up with the nitrogen, that is N2 gas, at a 2000 ml per minute steam rate. Okay, so this substrate and the sample is placed in the mouth of the oxidation glass tube furnace, and which is previously filled with nitrogen gas at 2000 ml per minute steam. So this is the schematic diagram of oxidation process. So here see O2, N2, NH3. So gas inlet is there. This is the coarse tube, and this is the coarse broth where vapor is there, and gas outlet is here. So the resistance heater on the tube furnace was then heated up according to the targeted process temperature. Okay, so the resistance heater on the tube furnace was then heated up according to the targeted process temperature. After the furnace temperature reached the required temperature, the sample boat was pushed to the heated zone, which is at center of the furnace tube. Okay, so here the resistance heater of the tube furnace was then heated up according to the target process temperature. So after the furnace temperature reached the required temperature, means surrounding temperature, the sample boat was pushed to the heated zone, which is at the center of the furnace. Okay, so it is pushed at the center because due to this heater we are going to maintain the temperature. Then the oxidation process began after we stopped the supplied N2 gas. Okay, so the oxidation process began after we stopped the supplied N2 gas and started to flow the dried oxygen gas into the tube furnace under the constant flow rate of 2000 ml per minute. Okay, then the oxidation process began after we stopped the supplied N2 gas and started the flow the dried oxygen gas into the tube furnace under a constant flow rate of 2000 milli per minute. So the oxidation process was maintained under a constant oxygen flow. Okay, so the oxidation process was maintained under a constant oxygen flow rate at atmospheric pressure from 4 to 12 hours. Okay, so the oxidation process was maintained under a constant oxygen flow rate at atmospheric pressure from 4 to 12 hours. So figure 4 shows the oxidation furnace apparatus for thermal oxidation. Okay, so figure 4 shows that, okay, this figure 4 shows that oxidation furnace apparatus for thermal dry oxidation. So that are dry oxidation. So uniform color scheme with no surface abnormality appear on the oxidized sample's surface. Okay, so uniform color scheme with no surface abnormality appeared on the oxidized sample's surface at all experiment conditions. Okay, at all experiment conditions. So the morphology of SiO2 growth surface on the sample was scanned using F50 thin film matrice at 20 different points, while the cross section of SiO2 microchannel was verified using a scanning electron microscope. Okay, so the morphology of SiO2 growth surface on the sample was scanned using F50 thin film matrice at 20 different points, while the cross section of that SiO2 microchannel was verified using the scanning electron microscope. Okay, so means here the one quartz tube is taken, so the heat is maintained here. So first upon the whatever the quartz board, over that each sample is placed and the firstly N2 gas is taken off for the dried plates, and when this surrounding heated that much temperature, then oxygen is that the constant oxygen gas flow at the rate of 200 ml per minute. So the oxidation process was maintained under the constant oxygen flow, that is the rate atmospheric pressure from 4 to 12 hours. Okay, so uniform color scheme with no surface abnormality appeared. And how it is tested, whether it is that the correct one or not? The morphological of SiO2 growth surface on the sample was scanned first upon using F50 thin film matrice at 20 different points, while the cross section of the SiO2 microchannel was verified using the scanning electron microscope. Okay, so this is nothing but the thermal oxidation process. Okay, so we have seen thermal oxidation. Okay, so in this session we have covered thermal oxidation process. Thank you.